Hey gang, Rev It Up, Car Fanatic Productions. Today I have a friend of a friend's car, 2010 Ford Edge. It's got the 3.5 liter V6 engine in it, and he fried his starter. So I already tried it by the relay to put a jumper in to start it. I text the battery. The battery has the correct voltage, and there's just nothing going on with the starter. So we do have the brand new starter. So what we have to do is get the air cleaner out of the way, get the booster hose out of the way, the vacuum line under here, get the air cleaner up out of the way, and we will have to drain just a little bit of coolant out of here because this top hose is going to be in the way. And we're going to disconnect the battery but not take the battery out, because you want to disconnect the battery because you're working with the starter and we don't want to short anything else out. So we'll get back to you when we get down into the nitty-gritty of it. Always important to start with the negative battery cable first, because if you hit something with the negative, it's not going to spark. When you hit something with the positive, you're going to spark and you're going to blow something. You definitely don't want to do that. So now we'll do this one. So it's just one screwdriver to get it loose from the throttle body, and then from this vacuum hose that goes into the top of the valve cover, you just pull this back and pop it loose. And then of course this comes from the intake. This goes to the brake booster, and then there's your mass airflow sensor. Pull it back on this clip right here, and then right here you just push that in and pull out, and then the air filter comes out. We got the battery disconnected. We can leave the battery in. Now we're going to take the air filter out, check it. We'll clean that mess out of there. And I believe it's just this one bolt right here that holds this in, and then down there it's little rubber grommets, and you just kind of pull up on it to get that out. And I think this might be a 8mm maybe. Okay, so the drain plug is right there, that yellow thing right there, and I unloosened that. I put a hose down there, but it didn't come out the hose, but it went into a drain pan down there. Let's see if that's enough to not have any up here. So I'll still put something underneath this hose and catch what comes out under here. I recommend getting a deep socket 1/2 inch, because that gray wire that holds that the clamp that holds the wire down there, it's got an extra threads on it. So you're gonna need that to get to that one. Use a deep socket on that, but they're coming off pretty easy. Here are the two 13mm ones, and this is the one where I said it had the extra stud on top. So all right, what's going on? As I was saying, so that's a longer stud, so you would need a deep socket to get that out. Now what we're going to do is, so we don't have to take the transmission out, the transmission lever. I mean, you can try putting the parking brake on. It ain't going to work because we don't have the battery connected. But I was going to say move the lever, but I think we got enough room now to kind of pull the starter up, out, and twist it out kind of this way. Just work with it. I'll let you know how long it takes. Okay, it took all about 35 seconds to get this starter back in place. So now we'll get the bolts lined up, and then we'll put the leads back on, put everything back together, and we'll get this thing started. Okay, so we just got the new starter back in, those bolts down, we got those wires in. Now we're gonna hook up our coolant line and put our air box back in, put the air filter back in, and all our tubes and hoses back together, and then we'll get this thing started. Everything's in place, everything's tight. So we got our funnel over there, and we're going to crank it up, and we're going to turn the heat on anyway, and then we're going to pour that antifreeze inside of the expansion tank, and let it gurgle in there and burp if it need be. And we have fire. So we've done our job right. We got the starter going, we got it in. So now we're going to pour the antifreeze in the jug. And this has got one of them springs in there, so it's not going to let garbage inside here. So we don't have to worry about junk getting in. And I cleaned it out pretty good. And I'm confident that's the level that we want. So let's let that do that for a minute. Let's get some heat going in here. And straight away we got heat. I really wasn't concerned about the heat because we didn't take out that much antifreeze. But we'll let it run for a few minutes anyway. And we'll idle it up just a little bit. Just in case any bubbles is in there. She is complete. So we are good to go. I didn't think there'd be no leaks of any sort. Starters are working fine. The AC is working. And we got heat. We're good to go. Sorry, I had one of them spam interrupted calls. But as you can see, the 2010 Ford Edge 3.5, she is running. You put the brand new starter in, and that's how you do the starter on a 2010 Ford Edge with the 3.5 liter motor. We are all done. Hit that like and subscribe button. This is Rev It Up Car Fanatic Production. Hit the like and subscribe button. There she is running. All right, God bless. Have a good day. That was correct. It was an 8mm. So now with our batteries disconnected, now here's our starter right here. But we're not going to be able to get our starter out with this thermostat hose here. So we're going to have to drain just a little bit of coolant to get it below the thermostat level. And that way, when we get to the 1/2-inch bolts to take the starter loose, we can wiggle it and wiggle it past this transmission gear shifter. So let me drain this a little bit, and we're going to pull this coolant line off right here, and then we're going to take loose the bolt, the power wire, which is here, and then the ground wire. So I'm believing this is going to be a 1/2-inch probably, and that's going to be a 10mm right there to get the starter board out. And then right down in between the housing here, well, I can show you better here, you got a clip like this here that you can grab with 2 hands and kind of pull up on it to get that wire harness out of the way. So we did pretty good. We got just enough out of the way, just a little tiny bit spilled, and we let gravity take its place, and we got this hose behind the other hose on the side of the thermostat. So we're going to pull this bucket out so this coolant stays clean. We don't have much bleeding to do. Just top off the coolant, and we'll be good to go with that part. No bleeding to do. Okay, so here's the starter right here. And that's the little thing I was telling you with. Grab by 2 hands and pull up. And here's your starter bolt, the power wire, and then the negative right there, which is going to be a 10mm. So let's get this out and let's get the new one over here. It wasn't long at all, probably about 30 seconds. All to pull it up, twist it, and pull it out this way. And that's all it took. So let's get the new starter and match it up. I say it's a dead ringer. Comes with 2 new bolts and a washer. There's your 13 millimeter and your 10 millimeter that it goes to. And everything lines up about the same. So let's get this one in and let's get this car back on its way. Okay, we got the bolts mounted. Now let me sort of zoom in on that bolt right there, and we want to flip this around, and then you will see that this goes on top of that stud. There we go, and that holds that wire together there. Now we're going to put the smaller of the starter wires on first. We get that in place. Then we're going to get a lock washer. Then the lock washer goes on, and then we get the new 10 millimeter bolt, and we want to get that hand started. I can't do stuff with one hand, I'm losing the... Okay, we got our throttle body back on, the mass airflow sensor back on. We got our throttle body tightened up back there. We got the brake booster vacuum line back on here. The vacuum line from the top of the valve cover, we got that clicked back in place. We got our bolt back on from here. Now all we got to do is just click our 4 ends, our 2 ends on here, and we'll have this in place. Okay, our air cleaner is in place. Now on the back, the air cleaner slides down in between here, and these back tangs come out down the bottom, and it slides down, and then our clips right here holds that in place. So we got that all set. So all that side of the way. Now we got to do is put our positive cable back on first, and then put our negative cable back on, and make sure we got everything connected right. And if we did our job right, this vehicle will start. All right, we'll be back.